It's not really a secret that Havoc Demon Hunter is kind of really down bad at the moment, but there's some news on the horizon that gives some hope that maybe we'll be seeing some changes or even a rework come in 10.2. So you're probably wondering what the heck I'm talking about. Well, the other day, the Havoc Demon Hunter class lead, Reels, was in the Discord and was talking about something that we have in the channel there called the Havoc feedback thread, or the rolling feedback thread. And basically he came in and was like, yo, is the feedback thread updated? To which it was responded, no, but they're meaning to. And then he said, and I quote, soonish would be a good time to update if you had already been meaning to. And what does that mean? It means that Reels is taking a look at Havoc Demon Hunter. So today, we're going to take a look at the new rolling feedback thread, take a look at it, talk about what changes might be coming in the pipeline for Havoc Demon Hunter. Now, there's a chance this comes in 10.2. We don't know when it's happening. We don't even know if it's going to happen. Reels is also the class leads for Rogue. He was away for a while, which is a lot of the reason why Havoc and Rogue have not really been getting that many updates. But he's back now, and with Rogue getting a touch up, it's also possible that we see some Havoc Demon Hunter changes as well, especially if Reels is taking interest and looking at the rolling feedback channel. So we're gonna hop over to the rolling feedback channel. Shout out to Ravatha, who did most of the update, Shadowrek and Fiesta as well assisted with it. So big shout out to those guys in the Havoc Demon Hunter Discord. I'll link the Discord in the description as well. So we'll hop over there now. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe as well to grow the channel, and I'll see you guys in the Discord. So this is the Havoc Demon Hunter feedback thread, the rolling feedback in the Discord. This was updated on the 18th of August. I was away for a bit over the weekend, puppy sitting. So haven't had time to look at it, but we are here now with the update. So basically what's happened here is Rev has gone through and added a bunch of actually really well written and thought out problems to Havoc. I'm not going to read them word for word. I'll probably paraphrase and give a little bit of a short thing as well as my thoughts. But these are most likely to be changes that will come down the pipeline for Havoc Demon Hunter. These are the things that Reels and the dev team for Havoc are looking at, and are the most likely and most realistic to see changed. So there's lots of stuff in here. All of them are really, really good and all things I agree with. People who've watched this channel for a while, longtime viewers, know my stance on how Havoc currently is. They know how things are with the class. They know what I've talked about in the future and in the past, about what changes I want to see. And a lot of these are echoed there. Now there's some cool takes and stuff I'm going to talk about, but let's just jump into it. So the first thing I'm talking about is basically the right side of the tree completely. Throglaive, any means necessary, Ragefire stuff. The issue with it is that it's really well liked, but it's just not good. The gameplay is fun. It helps mitigate issues with momentum, but because of buffs to the other side, as well as just target caps on that side, it's just not really good. So the big issue here is you invest basically 10 points, 4 into Glaives, 6 into Immolation Aura, and you don't really get that much of a payoff. Soul Rend makes Throglaive really strong and really important, but it doesn't do that much damage, and it only goes up to 3 targets. Now, Immolation Aura made Ragefire really strong in those Immolation Aura talents, but Immolation Aura is soft capped at 8 and only gives the first 3 crits into Ragefire. Furthermore, Burning Wound also capped at 3. So effectively with this build, it's this AoE build, but you're only really doing AoE to 3 targets at a time. Now Ragefire, the hit of Ragefire is uncapped. However, again, you're only really building it up based on 3 targets, so the damage it deals doesn't really scale that much into larger pulls. Yeah, it does a bit, but it doesn't really increase to a substantial degree. So all those things there are kind of just unfortunate, especially as you go further into a season. Pull sizes ramps up a lot as people get comfortable with dungeons, which means that this build falls further and further behind. So that's basically one of the big issues here. Soul Rend also blocks AMN access, so you can't really do it if you're looking to do mastery scaling for Havoc. So you kind of have to go all the way down the right side, invest into all these points that aren't very strong and don't really do a lot of damage right now. The gameplay was fun, lots of people enjoyed it, and it's just really fallen by the wayside. So a lot of people want to see it back. You can see his name is Soul Rend AMN Advocate. Don't blame him, very fun. So his suggestion is to basically just up it to 5 as well as some buffs and stuff. I think 5 would be really good, because this AoE build, again, is just not doing much damage in AoE. 5 targets for Soul Rend would be great, 5 targets for Burning Wound would be great, and 5 targets for Immolation Aura would also be great, just basically giving us more damage into larger pulls, making this left-right build actually good at AoE, and giving more incentive into the right side of the tree, which we just never use right now. It's very unfortunate. The right side's very fun. On top of that, just to mention this here, Ragefire is weird in the fact that it only takes value from the first 3 crits. not the biggest 3 crits. So you have a thing with Burning Wound, which increases your immolation aura damage. But if, let's say, you have 6 targets and it crits on 3 targets that don't have Burning Wound and 3 targets that do have Burning Wound, it'll just take the first 3. So if you get unlucky, then Burning Wound doesn't have a lot of value. So there's definitely some weird things there that I do hope to be fixed. Now going down here into some more general less damage sides of things, Chaos Nova Fell Eruption is a great point that's not really like that much thought of. Basically, Chaos Nova costs Fury, but not really any other stun in the game has a comparable cost, right? So back when Chaos Nova actually gave you the soul shards, not soul shards, the souls basically, it made sense it cost some resource, but now you have to invest 2 points into that. Which is weird and still costs Fury at the end of the day. Shaman, just for like a comparison, if you invest 2 points into their stun, which is free by the way, you can either have it stun twice or have it stun on a much shorter cooldown. We can invest 2 points to make it either give us some healing or have it cost less and have a 20% shorter CD. So the parity just isn't really there. Rev goes on to talk about how it just doesn't really make sense and feels archaic, which I definitely agree with. I do think removing the cost to Chaos Nova, or if you're keeping the cost, give us a note to make it free, would be really, really good. And then this is also kind of coupled up with Fell Eruption, which we just don't push. Fell Eruption is great. It's really liked. We just, again, cannot take it. It's just not really possible to do so. So coupling those together and maybe putting Chaos Nova baseline and giving us a choice node between Fell Eruption, like a single target stun, and then a free Chaos Nova on the class tree would be great. A free and shorter Chaos Nova versus a Fell Eruption would be really, really good, giving you the option for more AoE stuns or a single target stun as well. There's some other stuff here as well, survivability and devastating magical damage, physical damage. Yeah, we're really squishy now. Our only really defensive is Blur. It's not very good. It's like a 1 minute CD. Our leech was nerfed because of the health going up. It just basically doesn't feel very impactful anymore. So our survivability is really bad. Against physical damage, we have like nothing. So I've talked about this one a lot. I don't really want to beat the dead horse, so to speak, but survivability for Havoc Demon Hunter is a very large, well-known issue. Now, I do like the suggestion here from our Havoc Demon Hunter team here in the Discord, where they talk about how they could make Demonic Muzzle, 10% DR to everything instead of just magic damage, which I think would help a lot with physical damage intake and could also be a really cool and fun wrinkle to using your sigils instead of just sending them or never using them. I also agree on the choice node to empower Blur, potentially in the class tree as like a Havoc exclusive node. We know they can do those. We know they can do spec exclusive nodes at the class tree. Paladin does them, Warrior does them. This wouldn't be out of the ordinary. Basically just having it be a stronger DR or a shorter DR, because basically we're really squishy. All we have is Blur and something needs to be done. Now these things are also true. Sigil of Misery Defeat is weird. Give us back Chains or Sigil of Silence. Misery, it just kind of sucks. It's not a great stop, and just having Misery and Defeat being there and encouraging you to use your stop as damage is very just kind of weird design. We also really have a lot of insane threat generation. Making Blur a threat drop would be really good. Just having some way of us causing less threat, because legitimately if we crit something, just like passively, you will rip threat all the time. He mentions here you can just die from casting a Fell Blade on a single mob, which is very true. We're melee and we crit a lot and our crits do more damage, so we generate an obscene amount of threat, which frankly isn't very cool or fair. And now we come to kind of the big stuff. The biggest issue and the largest section of the updated feedback forum is demonic. Now, I've covered this a few times, covered it in detail, but essentially we're in a situation right now where meta uptime is so incredibly high and meta is so more considerably powerful that it is such a loss to even miss a single global. One global a minute is roughly 1,000 DPS loss, and it just magnifies from there for every additional global. It's like 5 is like 6 or 7,000. So if you're missing out on GCDs because of this, you're losing a ton of damage. Now that, of course, is incredibly frustrating and leads to really poor gameplay, where basically if every single global you're using is not focused on extending your metamorphosis or getting you back to your next metamorphosis exclusively, you're losing a ton of damage, and that's just such a bad way to play. Now, this also leads to meta itself being really unimpactful, where all it's really doing is just giving you more of this buff uptime. You're basically turning Metamorphosis and Demonic as like the buff into a maintenance buff. And maintenance buffs, they're never really fun when your whole gameplay loop revolves around keeping it up. It's just not a fun way to play the game, especially when it's also really, really punishing. Now, a really easy way to fix this is to fix Cycle of Hatred and Shattered Destiny. Now, I say easy, but it's not that easy. There's lots of different nuances and permutations that can go into this to make it a little bit worse. But I think a really good fix comes actually from, aside from removing Demonic, from a suggestion by Shadirect, who is the Wildhead and Icy Vein Guide Rider, who proposes that we essentially combine Cycle and Shattered Destiny into one. They suggest that while meta is up, you get a 0.1 second extension of meta, as well as a 0.1 second CDR for all abilities for every Fury spent, instead of just the 0.1 second extension for every 8 Fury sent. Now, to me, this is incredibly cool, as not only does it fix one of the issues of Cycle where it causes your I-Beam to desync from Essence Break, it also gives you more glaives, more immolation auras, more fell rushes, more blade dances. It gives you a lot more of a tie-in to the rest of our tree. It gives a lot more utility, not utility, well, I guess it does give you utility. It gives you CDR and all your sigils and stuff, but it gives you a lot more access to other abilities and ties it into a lot more of our other talents. Even potentially opening up like a mid-right build, which right now are impossible, but getting more CDR in your glaives and your immolation auras would be really, really good in that kind of build. Now, looking at a little bit of math, assuming a few things, but we're looking at meta lasting 2 minutes, assuming a 5-minute sim with kind of as close gear as you can get. You get roughly 50 seconds off of Shattered Destiny alone of extension, not factoring in things like extra demonic duration from I-Beam, stuff like that, or off of just Cycle. That's just how many seconds of extension you get over that 2-minute period of just being in meta. With proposed change, you would get around 27 seconds of extension instead of 50. However, you would also get an equal amount of CDR, more or less, probably a bit more. So in general, you'll get a lot more death sweeps, a lot more I-Beams, and more Essence Break cycles. So to me, that sounds really, really cool. And really, really fun. The extension would be less, but the CDR gain would be very impactful and very fun. Basically, every time you're in demonic form, you just get that CDR thing going. You'll still get 2 death sweeps in every window. You'll get more I-Beams back. You'll get more Essence Breaks back. You'll get more death sweeps. You'll get more immolation auras, glaive tempests, meta. So I think that's really fun and would make it feel a lot better. CDR is just incredibly fun to play with, so I'm a big fan of that. A few other things here. I think momentum and long arms is great. A lot of times, especially on like smaller hitbox bosses, when you're rushing around, it's very hard to not rush out of melee range. Fell Rush and VR have a set range you go, and on very small bosses like Sark, P1, P2, it's very easy to Fell Rush and just be out of range to hit something, so you have to like walk a step or two, which misses a GCD, which is not where you want to be. So I think having a long arms kind of buff like this thing is saying, maybe tied to momentum, maybe just tied to the class tree itself, would be very, very powerful. Other things here, illusions of choice, yeah, agreed. Basically all of our choice nodes are not actually choice nodes. I've talked about this before, but you'll never use all these options. So demonic versus first, you'll always take demonic. Fodder, you'll always take fodder over leash and decree. You'll always take glaive tempest over fell barrage. You'll never take chaos fragments, it's kind of useless. You'll never take aura of pain, it's pretty useless. You'll never really take relentless pursuit, it's pretty useless. Desperate instincts, again, is pretty useless. So all these choice nodes are not actually choices. They're just kind of, it's an illusion of choice, so to speak. You think you have a choice, but the other side are they're just so niche or so bad or just so far off an output that they're bad. So again, what Rev's talking about here, you kind of need to rework them, kind of need to get damage buffs to them. It's just bad. First the Incarnate, first of the Illidari will never be used as long as this massive Essence Break Cycle Demonic Shattered Destiny synergy exists, which is just, you know, omnipresent. Elysian Barrage, you need some kind of rework or tuning. So there's just a lot of options on the tree that are not really options. He goes on to talk about Unbound Chaos as well. I agree, Unbound Chaos is a shell of its former self. It's not really fun. It's very unrewarding. It's not very tuned high. Back in Shadowlands, it was a big nuke you could use to Fell Rush through a bunch of targets. Felt very powerful with First Strike, felt very powerful with the Covenant Legendary for Night Fae, and now it's just kind of a shell of its former self. And then again, just some rapid fire things here. Blade Dance stuff would be cool. Some kind of Chaos Cleave node would be cool. An Essence Break node to give you a single use with higher damage or 2 charges with lower damage would be cool. Critical Chaos or Dancing with Feint change to 1 pointer. Big up for that. That would let us take some utility. Talents that can make glaives bounce to more targets. Big up for that. Talents that make glaze bounce to the same target, giving you single target or 2 target stuff, and then making Unbound Chaos rewarding. So I think there's a lot of stuff here. Even if a fraction of this is taken, I think Havoc will be in a much better spot. Big shout out to Rev and Fiesta and Shad for putting this all together. Big agree with almost everything you guys have talked about. I hope I did a little bit of a coverage here for you guys. If you want to go through and read it all yourself and not hear me ramble over all these different points and thoughts, Havoc Demon Hunter Discord's linked at the bottom. It's right here on Rolling Feedback. Go check that out. And really at the end of the day, hopefully something is done with Havoc. Of course, as soon as changes are announced, as soon as 10.2 is up, you will see me there testing. You'll see me giving news for you guys. You'll find me in the Discord talking about it in theory crafting. So once changes to Havoc come, stay here for all your news about that. But again, I appreciate you all for sticking around while Havoc's not very great and supporting all that, and hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know down below in the comments what one of these things you guys want to see changed. Are there more stuff you think should be included? Are there things that you don't want to see changed on this list? Let me know. And finally, thank you all for watching. I'll be live probably the Saturday or the Sunday. This is going out Friday, so catch me live one of those days. Become a channel member in the description if you want to help support me. Go follow me on Twitch. I stream there. Join my Discord in the description. The link in the description. Like the video, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. A big thank you to my channel members: 121, Payne, Andrew Kunel, Joshua O'Connell, Brad Wisniak, Zuligan, James, Oxclamation, It's Bulk, Flapjack67, Angelo, and Spaghetti. A big shout out to all you guys. Thank you guys so much for all the help. If you want to become a channel member and help support me, maybe make better and better videos, or just work on getting new stuff out, you also get exclusive perks, exclusive access to parts of my Discord, exclusive access to VOD review, some scripts, exclusive emotes, stuff like that. And consider following the link in the description, become a channel member, and helping me out. Of course, you don't have to, but I really appreciate it. Anyways, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.